7 hours, 45 minutes. The Guinness World Records are yet to confirm Bassey's new record, saying they need to review all the evidence first and officially confirming a record. Julie, yes. Pretty lady. Pretty lady.
I've not taken my time to look at her physically.
Oh, I went to her Facebook page. I went to check her out on Instagram. Discovered that she combines beauty and the brain. And
are you impressed by her cooking?
I've also
everything. She's just a full package.
I've also learned over the years to not judge a woman by pictures uploaded on Facebook.
Experience has taught you that.
Yes, you know, you are our elder brother. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
You can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
There are pictures that we see that are clearly filtered. So I know you know even much more about this than me. But
no, don't
just,
don't just
I'm not doubting.
Let's keep Vegas.
I'm not doubting that she combines beauty with brains and capacity, endurance, and all. I think that the only thing stopping our celebration for now is the Guinness Book of World Records. They've not announced. You know, and I'm surprised about this delay because we've seen other cases. We've broken quite some records in our country, and
don't forget that lady that was dancing Kafi.
Yes, Kafi. Even the Lagos children, the toothbrushing.
Yes.
Thing, you know, they also set a record. So we are waiting patiently.
Governor Sanwo-Olu has been there to give moral support. I saw Tiwa Savage yesterday. I saw the pastor of Avesta yesterday. You know, a lot of people. That place have been like Mecca since then.
Even Akpabio had visited her.
Oh, you can imagine.
From the same state. Yes, from the same state. And he has promised to reward her. No, Akpabio is a very generous. Cannot do more money we do.
Yes, so yes. My senator.
We are waiting for his package.
GKB.
Well, it's nice to have good news from Nigeria for once. It's been a while that we have something we can converge around.
Yes.
Like this.
Everybody.
And our country in the African continent, no country can match us in terms of
everything.
Cuisines.
Yes, cooking.
Yeah, we have some of the best.
If you travel, we are the best in Africa. In terms of even the multiplicity
of our food.
Yes, we are the best. No one comes close. Go to some countries, you won't even feel like eating their food. And when it comes to even this jollof that we are talking about, ours is the best. It's the best. Ghanaians can't match us.
So Lekki. You know, Lekki, it was raining, people stood all night, people were there all night.
Yes, just to give her that moral support.
Moral support. The lady moral support.
But knowing the Nigerian mentality, this will now spur a lot of people.
Our youths, yes.
There are other things that we can do.
That can do.
Where we can show that we are world beaters. So you are seeing now.
Yes.
Okay. With pictures that you saw. Especially that picture where she was backing the camera. Now compare this.
No.
Compare this, Ayo. The one in which she was backing the camera, which I'm sure is what you saw. Compare what you are seeing now.
I saw every picture. It was blown it up to ensure.
Only God knows how long you stayed on her page.
It was a thorough research.
Everybody is free. The person's
I know a lot of people are just trying to make sure.
So, now, moving on, no matter how highly pleased or influential, nobody is above the law. As such, Afrobeat musician Seun Kuti has been arrested by the Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Police following a viral video of his assault on an officer. His arrest was sequel to an order by the Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali, over the assault of a policeman on 3rd Mainland Bridge. Jide, Yes, we started this case yesterday, and it's just a follow-up. And I called all my police friends. It was a time to stand with the police. Because when we saw the picture of what happened,
to stand with what is good.
Yes.
And denounce what is not good.
Yes.
This is not. Because if you are sure that any time you go against the law, you will be punished appropriately, many of the crimes that people commit in our country, they will not dare to commit. But here is a country where people get away with all kinds of crimes against the state. Why won't anyone think that, okay, let me beat up the police? It's not the first person to beat the police.
And there was another video that said it's not the first time he's assaulting a policeman.
But the question is, no, we didn't see those things.
I saw the video, he was saying it himself. As in, Seun Kuti. So the video is all over. It's on my phone. Saying that this is not the first time that I'm assaulting a policeman.
Well,
so if you've
this is the first time we are seeing it, we are aware.
Yes.
And we've done the right thing by saying, okay, he surrendered 44 billion. Today, nobody is talking about it. So it's a nation where people trample on the law and easily get away, especially if you are a big shot.
Or if you have a very famous last name, and the people bring sentiments.
Even the matter went to a magistrate court. The girl was saying, look, you have hurt me by your behavior. He didn't show up in court.
He didn't care.
He didn't show up in court. That popular rapper, the one who graduated from Unilag students were hailing him over a nude.
You forgot the senator as well that was caught on camera assaulting person.
He didn't have immunity, and he never went to jail.
Never went to jail.
Is it not our country?
So a lot of people have said that this matter will be handled in-house, as it were. Well, fine, we want justice. Well, like Gide said, sometimes justice is relative to the person's concerned.
Yes.
Say, look, why are you trying to? People tell after the day that, as they say in Ibadan, don't worry, I love you, I love you, about it, I know. They are telling you that, okay, you win this round, but we'll be waiting for you down the line to do the same mistake. I will now descend on you. That, of course, will cut off any level of animosity that you want to portray. I think if the police is truly interested in redeeming what the laws read the answers, this is the best example to use. Because don't forget about the last
men were killed.
They were not only killed, some were butchered. It was got to that point that nobody respects the police anymore. And if you can have a physical proof of somebody as well-known as Seun Kuti, this is the best time to show example to the rest of them that nobody is above the law.
All right. As intensifying following the disagreement over nomination of candidates for principal positions by the All Progressive Congress, APC, Senator Godswill Akpabio said he has commenced extensive reconciliatory moves as well as an enlightenment campaign to pacify aggrieved lawmakers. Speaking in Abuja, Akpabio said he has secured the support of about 69 senators-elect, known as Stability Group, for his Senate presidency ambition. Meanwhile, another aspirant, Abdulaziz Yari, said he would not withdraw from the Senate presidency race, despite announcement of preferred candidate by the APC. Yari called on senators-elect to ignore religion and ethnicity in electing the next Senate president. But first, let's share the Akpabio story with you. Okay, Jide, the story is on already. Now, Senator Akpabio, yes, he came to Lagos yesterday. He met with the governor of Lagos, and he went to Ogun State, and he getting endorsement from lawmakers from each of these strategic states, and they are not leaving any stone unturned, despite the fact that the party hierarchy might have endorsed him earlier, but they are moving from state to state to get endorsement from these senators
to seal the deal.
I think without a shadow of a doubt, Akpabio has shown tremendous desire to head the Senate. He has been moving around, trying to get the senators to endorse him. And if there is any senator who is contesting for the Senate presidency who has received quite
across political parties, I must say, because
who has received a lot of endorsements, it has to be Senator Akpabio. And the strategy is clear. The way this thing is going, these lawmakers may defy their parties and go ahead to say, okay, we are choosing our leaders by ourselves. And when it gets to that point, the endorsement by the party cannot save you. It is the work that you have done. Because, and we've seen the party endorse candidates in the past that didn't win. There are examples, plenty of examples. So Akpabio knows that his best bet is to continue to
campaign,
to move around his colleagues, reach out to his colleagues, seek their support. And we had at least 66 out of 109 9 members are on his side. Now some are abroad. They are waiting. Who have given him verbal assurances, that they are going to support him. But those ones are not. At this stage, they are not around to physically sign the endorsement paper. So, Akpabio has reached out to me. He's the person that I'm going to vote for because he has shown greater hard work when you are talking about this cause. Senator Yari.
Okay, before we go to Yari, let's quickly just play the story that we told our viewers we wanted to play earlier.
The general election is over, but attention moves to the National Assembly. The composition of the 10th legislature makes the battle for the top seat in this arm of government even more fierce. Though the ruling APC has endorsed some federal lawmakers to lead both the red and green chamber, this has come with some resistance. Senators Orji Uzor Kalu, Abdulaziz Yari and Osita Isnaso are defiant with the party's position and want an open contest.
We are going to say no.
Although he is said to have the support of the president-elect, Senator Godswill Akpabio is not resting on his hours as he visited Lagos to consult with stakeholders. He was accompanied by key senators across political parties to give credibility to his campaign. Senator Akpabio confirms about 69 senators cutting across all political parties are already in his group, named Stability Group. He added that his track record stands him out and is out to create a gender-friendly legislature.
The joint leadership partnership between Senator Jibril Barrow and myself and the Stability Group of senators of the 10th Senate seek to ensure unity and peace in our dear country.
He promised to meet with everyone vying for the position in the interest of the country.
We will ensure that the members of the 10th Assembly put aside their differences, whether you are from this political platform or the other. Once you enter the chambers, you think Nigeria.
For Senators Jibril Barrow and Ali Ndume, this cause is not for self, but national interest.
Why Akpabio? Because it is the right thing to do at this time. If it is about the Senate President, all of us here are qualified, immensely qualified. Let me add that I'm even more qualified. But yet, that is not the only thing. You have to look at the interests of the country, you have to look at the interests of the institution, and then you have, before you look at their own interests.
We're here under this ticket for national interest, nothing more. And from the way we've started, these patrons we are seeing, they've shown uncommon commitment.
From the minorities and
On the issue about being a rubber stamp and the North Central question, some senators-elect say these questions will be addressed before June.
We have people from different parties, but they have seen the capacity
of the duo of Akpabio and Barrow for Senate President and DSP, and that is why they are here.
There are other areas that the North Central can be accommodated.
The Stability Group says they will continue to meet with all other contestants and key players so that Nigerians don't experience what happened in the 8th Assembly.
GKB, let me quote Abdulaziz Yari now, calling on senators-elect to ignore religion and ethnicity. Now, we have the president, the vice president, the same religion, and now somebody is coming from the south and is Christian. I don't know what Senator Abdulaziz Yari is talking about.
Abdullah Yari is talking about his own self-interest and using that as an excuse to rope everybody into it. Because if you know our history very well, especially since 1999, it was only the fact that Jonathan inherited Yar'Adua's presidency, that he had a Senate president from the north. Everybody else decided by the party that was on at that time. The president would come from a particular part of the country, ditto for the Senate president. That's why Obasanjo had an army of Senate presidents from the southeast. And Yar'Adua had the Big Mac until he died, and then they couldn't change it. But the moment Buhari came in, the status quo was returned. So I don't think Senator Yari is speaking for Nigerians or something.
He's not a senator yet.
Senator-elect Yari is speaking for... Because you have to remember that the inauguration of the Senate is June 4th or 5th. That will be 5 or 6 days after the inauguration of the president. So there will be a sitting president in office as of this point in time. And you and I know that it's going to take a lot of political brinksmanship to fight that system at that point in time. So that's why I think all things being equal, Akpabio will emerge, despite all the drama going on right now.
But it's healthy for the likes of Yari to stick to their gun and Ojus Okalu to say, I'm still going to try my best, and with other collaboration with some other political parties, it will make the beauty of democracy.
Yes, people like the incumbent Senate president, they don't believe in Akpabio, and they've told the president-elect that they don't want Akpabio. There were meetings in which they told the president-elect that, look, we don't want Akpabio, he can't be trusted, and all that. But sometimes these decisions are subject to emotions. You look at someone like Senator Akpabio was the first to step down for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on that night. Is significant. If you are the sort of politician who rewards loyalty, who rewards people who stand by you through thick and thin, you are not going to allow such a significant political move.
And there was like a bandwagon effect after.
Yes, and after that, we started seeing us to, So I think the president-elect's mind is made up on Akpabio. Yes, the party said they are going to weigh a good number of these senators have galvanized around the Akpabio candidacy. You know that even if they are considering tinkering with the original zoning arrangement, it may not affect the Senate presidency, because the way it is now, in terms of religious balance, the Akpabio ticket effectively takes care of that. Yeah. You have his deputy, who originally wanted to contest against him, Senator Jibrin Barrow, is very formidable from the Northwest. Many people from the Northwest thought this should be Barrow's chance. But with Barrow opting to not contest, you can see that more of those Northwest senators-elect have now joined the Akpabio ticket, seeing that the person that they wanted has opted out of the race and has agreed to be Akpabio's deputy. So I think that in the final analysis, when push comes to shove, when the thing is subjected to a vote on the floor of the Senate, Akpabio has impressive numbers currently. I'm not saying that he's going to win. He has impressive numbers currently, and he has a very big chance of winning. He is the top gun now, no doubt about it. In this race, he's the candidate to beat now. So, and as he continues to work hard, moving on, getting more and more endorsement, the thing looks really bright for him. But you know, there are so many newcomers too coming to the Senate. So friendships that you made during the 9th Assembly may not save you. You have to reach out to those new, more than 70 of them, you know, are not coming back. So those new members, you have to really work hard on them to get them to support you. But the chances remain bright unless something dramatic happens, which you cannot foreclose in politics.
Yeah, because 24 hours is a long time. So that's why today he's moving around the country to ensure that not only the support of Senate, but also they are going to carry along. And this is what he must continue to do until the day of the inauguration. Because as you say in this part of the country, what is happening today may not occur tomorrow. That's why the Babalawo must go and consult Ifa every day. Because what is gone is gone. So whatever promises he was given today, he must continue to oil the wheel in such a manner to ensure that by the day of inauguration, he has an overwhelming number to carry the day. Because like Jide said, ultimately it will come down to that day. No matter what the party promised, no matter the endorsements you've gotten, it's for those who are for you.
Election will still take place.
They will hold an election, or some people will come out. Yeah. And the other variables will come in.
We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Now that Nigeria's next president has been decided at the poll on February 25, attention is shifted to May 29 Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of Nigeria's 16th president since 1960, when the country gained independence. It's going to be the 7th inauguration ceremony since the beginning of the Fourth Republic in 1999, and President-elect Bola Tinubu and Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima will take the oath of office. Join me, Nifebi Oguntoye, every weekday on TVC News for the countdown to the historic May 29 Inauguration Day, as we bring you all updates, political intrigues, and in-depth analysis of people and events that you need to know. The countdown to May 29 Inauguration Day.
If you're just tuning in, this is Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from TVC News here from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. And I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kairi Balogun in the studio. Julie, I want to bring Senators Yari's concern, his call to the senators that's calling on them to ignore religion and ethnicity in selecting the next Senate president. How germane is this call?
Let's not forget that Senator-elect Abdulaziz Yari, former governor of Zamfara State, is interested in the Senate presidency. In fact, it was long believed that the Senate presidency will go to the Northwest. People like Margaret Akadawa-Mako were even touted.
You remember?
So, because the Northwest gave tremendous support to Asiwaju, he may not have won more than 2 states out of 7. But he got impressive numbers. Even in some states that he lost
very lovely second, back to back.
Narrowly. So you cannot say that they didn't give him so much support. So people had long been speculating that the Northwest will pick the Senate presidency, and they were mentioning people like Wamako, you know. Now, the way it is now, the way the polity has been so badly heated over the Muslim ticket has invited hate for the president-elect, and the fact that it has not gone away, despite the fact that he won the election.
You still see the pain.
And see the pain that a lot of Christian clerics are feeling. Ordinarily, they may not have voted for his party. Those clerics, those big Christian clerics, have a long history of supporting the PDP. We have to tell ourselves the truth. But they never liked the idea of a Muslim ticket. It's not as if he picked a Christian, they will support the party. Yes.
That's just what it is.
Whatever the situation, they will always vote PDP. That is a fact. Even in Osun State, there is a part of Osun State that whatever happens is PDP that they vote for. And it's an area with a very impressive population of Christians. I will not mention, but people,
they know. They know. That's come what?
It is the same thing in Kaduna. Whatever it is, the APC does,
if you like,
they will still go on and vote for PDP. You understand? So the fact that the Onayekons are angry and demonstrating their anger with some of the statements they are making, they must clear court cases before inauguration, is all linked to the anger
of that
emanated from the Muslim ticket. It's not, you know, but no one will say that after you got away with Muslim ticket, you won the election, that it will not be ultra insensitive to still proceed to allow a Muslim to emerge as Senate president. I can tell you a good number of my own friends who are Muslim, who are from the north, they are saying no, that this should not happen. Because there is no point. What do we gain by heating up the polity needlessly? Doing things that we know that if we do it, it will get our people angry, it will show us to be insensitive. So the APC has an obligation to push hard for a Southerner, a Christian from the South, to emerge as Senate president. It may not be Akpabio, it may be anybody.
As long as
Christian, as long as it's a Christian from the South, it balances things. It makes people, at least no one will say number 1 to 3 are Muslim. Because this is how it is counted. Number 3 man is the Senate president. Number 4 man is the Speaker of the House of Reps. You know? So you can't say, because 5, you cannot say that you do not know that there is anger in the land over this. So they should not overreach themselves at all. We want balance. We want people to feel that yes, there is equity, there is justice. And I don't think taking this thing to bed, it's not inaugurated yet. So Senator-elect Yari, I don't think the advice that you are giving your colleagues to not.
Doesn't sound sensitive.
I don't think that they are going to take your advice. But I think that the senators themselves
know this.
They know this. They will be able to ask themselves, does it make sense? Let us not do this.
Should not be a winner takes all thing.
No. I think that at the end of the day, common sense will prevail, and will realize that look, this thing should not go to another Muslim.
All right, moving on now. The first subsidy conundrum has continued to defy logic and solution as more prominent Nigerians called for its removal before it consumed Nigeria. The governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has urged the federal government to end sustainability. Governor El-Rufai insists that it is detrimental to the economy. Also, the World Bank and a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, have described the fuel subsidy as senseless, stressing that Nigeria is heading towards bankruptcy due to its sustenance. Meanwhile, the CBN said the country now spends more than $112 million on debt servicing monthly. We're in the big fix, GKB.
Well, this is what they...
Because if it's a catch-22 situation for the new administration, if they don't remove fuel subsidy, Bola Tinubu promised, President-elect, that he was going to remove fuel subsidy.
No, it must be removed for two obvious reasons. One, we are running the debt profile that we cannot sustain. That means there are no money for infrastructure, no money for development. Because you are spending, as the CBN said, $112 million to service our debt. How much are we making every month to spend that kind of money to service debt? Then number two, it's like cancer. You just have to catch it early and cut it off. Because the earlier you cut off the subsidy, the earlier Nigeria can get through the pains and survive. Luckily, there have been no elections for anybody to pay for the consequences for the next 4 years. So the Bola Tinubu administration must do the right thing very early and simply remove it, let it roll. There will be pains here, of course, but nobody will pay for that decision for at least 3 years after the fact. And that to me is key because we are getting to a point where people can no longer pay salaries or they have to get loans to service basic infrastructural needs of our country. That is unacceptable, and that is not something that we can sustain. So as far as I'm concerned, the new administration must simply bite the bullets as quickly as possible so that whatever is going to be the fallout can be managed in the next 2-3 years before the next election. Because if they should dilly-dally, they will now be looking at the political consequences. And once they've done that, that means they too will now push the ball forward to maybe second term or to another government. And they too will go through the same thing. So the best thing to do today is for either this government, if they have the lever to do that, or the next administration as part of the first day in office, you simply remove the subsidy.
Julie, I'm looking at the spiral effects because I know why Muhammadu Buhari delayed till this time, why it was difficult for him.
It's a political choice.
Yes, it was so difficult for Muhammadu Buhari to take this choice because when we get to that extent that, it will affect, everything, almost everything, the purchase of fuel and how much you buy per liter and everything. But at the end of the day, we like inflicting pains, it will affect tomato, it will affect everything in the markets. So how do we take this kind of situation and how will government ensure that they minimize the pains and effects?
I don't know how they can minimize the pain and effects because in the past they came up with palliatives. It didn't really work.
Some group of people will just
it didn't really work. Even if you bought vehicles and you said, okay, people can commute with these vehicles.
Subsidized rates, will it go around?
People in the rural areas will not even have access to it. And those in the late 80s, when most of the states had committed so much money into mass transit, buses and the rest of that. I remember Kaduna even brought in the double-decker buses from the UK. You will find that it's only the people in the urban centers that will actually benefit from it. Those buses will not go to the rural areas. And petrol, yes, it's a security product. It's something that if you do it, it can even lead to nationwide violence. But the choice that we have as a country is, one, allow subsidy to continue and watch Nigeria ultimately become another...
Naira will be useless.
So we have a choice.
Really indebted.
It's an economic necessity, removing the subsidy and freeing funds for infrastructure, for education, for roads, you know. If right now, when we even talk about our inability to earn enough money, it is because a good chunk of what comes to the NNPC from crude oil sales is used to service, I mean, to pay subsidy. Is used to pay for subsidy. So if that was not there, you can imagine a country spending now on the average about 6 trillion on subsidy. If you had 6 trillion, a country that allocated just 200 billion for roads in its budget, if you had 6 trillion, there's no way you allocate something as little as 6 trillion to roads. And the debt, we are piling on debt. It is because we are not earning enough. And our earnings are hampered largely because what is our highest earner? It is still oil. And we are taking so much from what we earn to pay for subsidy. So you don't have a choice. You will be taking more loans. I can tell you that if subsidy is removed, for example, the rate at which we are taking loans will definitely go down because we will free up funds, you know, for those critical sectors for which we are taking loans up and down.
Look at the way we are servicing debt.
Now, yes, because it is inevitable that you have to service debt. You are spending so much money. You've taken so much money, and the debt servicing is not in Naira, it is in dollars. So when you earn, when your revenue comes in, your receipts come in form of Naira, by the time you convert them to dollars to service debt, it will seem like everything that you have.
Dollars.
How can we deal with a situation in which in a quarter we spent 118% of what we earned on debt servicing? It means that you are already spending more than what you receive, your earnings. You are spending much more on debt servicing. So a time will come when you will go and take loans for the purpose of servicing debt. So we have to ask ourselves, where do we go from here? It is clear now. I think it was recently, even the Chinese refused to give us one loan like that. They turned us down. We are reaching a point when creditors will be turning us back to say, look, we are not giving you any loan because the capacity to pay back is really not there. I've always said that, look, let's not be talking about debt to GDP ratio. Let's talk about debt to revenue. What is your capacity to earn revenue? It is it is your capacity to make money that should determine the quantum of debt that you have. For a situation in which we are not making money because a good chunk of what we make goes to payment for subsidy, and other sources, and money is not coming in sufficiently from the non-oil sector. So we have to take a very big decision, and I think in fact, all the contestants, it wasn't Asiwaju alone that promised. Peter Obio, Atiku, they all said they were going to remove subsidy. I think everyone is convinced now.
Now, the reality on ground will now be, if I have to buy 4 liters, let's say I want to buy 4 liters and I'm getting it 700 naira per liter. I'm doing 700, 800 naira per liter. To get 4 liters, I'm grossing how much just to fix 4 liters? and you know the kind of effects that we have on everything.
Well, the first effect we have is that you have to reduce journeys that have no economic benefits. That's the first thing that will go. Now, let's look at countries where they've removed this, or they don't have it at all. Let's take the US, for example, where the subsidy goes to the farmers, basically, because they want to make sure that food security is guaranteed. And the Yorubas will say, if you can guarantee food. And then don't forget, they also do cash share, where people live in the same area, use different cars.
And there's a dedicated link that you can pass.
Yeah, we are the most creative people I know. I'm sure
everybody want to put
something, because you don't need to put your car on the road.
At the same time.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that happen, of course, is that people will resist. Then they will adjust. Then they will face that reality and will move on. Because ultimately,
people are buying
Guzzlers.
SUVs.
Guzzlers.
I'm telling you.
Guzzlers.
I'm telling you.
And you wonder what they're going to do with it when you can have a functional car.
Homer and the rest of them.
Because at the end of the day, there are some states in the US that if you decide to be 3 or 4 in the car, you have your own dedicated.
It's dedicated.
So you are 4, you are 3 in the car, you just pass through that lane, traffic free.
The carpool lane is for anyone. If you go, you are the only one in the car, they will pull you over. Because you are breaking the law. Because it was dedicated. So what have they done that we have not done? Or we are not prepared to do? Like I said, the first thing is that we live far above our income. Far above things we need. Nigeria is the only country where we have
when the
nothing.
transport system is not working well.
India, as you know, decided on what to wear in the 50s. Not because it was comfortable, but because it was made in India. Today, all over the world, people copy what Indians are wearing. It wasn't comfortable. They could be wearing ties. They have access to Sabi Road now. They could go to London and buy the best suits.
I think also that if we are able to fix the refineries,
and the one that's coming up.
Because the landing could be determined by the global price. But in our own case, the landing costs, because we are literally importing virtually everything that we need.
Yes.
All our PMS is imported. So the landing costs will definitely go up because it is imported.
Everything.
So
government is not doing anything again
now
to help us.
If the refineries, if we were able to fix the refineries, and then Dangote refinery comes on stream, Dangote refinery alone can take care of our daily needs, and it will still have some more for export. You know, so the costs will go down, even if it is not substantially. The cost will be lower than if we were to be importing, as we are doing now.
Because I know if you go to places like Republic of Benin, Ghana, the amount they buy per liter
is higher than ours. Because
ours is like the cheapest.
Because we are subsidizing. You see, subsidy
creates.
It was Obasanjo that came up with this idea at that time, because he was trying to mitigate the pain. He came up with a law on price control, because he was trying to mitigate the effect of high oil prices as a result of the Israel-Arab war. But we now began to subsidize even those things that we didn't need to subsidize. Subsidizing housing, we were subsidizing water supply, we were even essential commodities, that sugar and all, we subsidized. So we thought that, okay, we were making so much money, so much petrodollar, and that, look, money was not the problem. I think it was someone who said, was it Gawan, or who, someone said that, look,
it's how to spend it.
It's how to spend it.
Not how to get money.
So we have now reached a point that we can see clearly that we are broke as a country. A country that pays 6 trillion. In the 2023 budget now, we are projected to spend 6 trillion on subsidy. Debt servicing is not there. Where will you find money?
Okay, they're saying $112 million servicing debt monthly.
Every month.
Yes. Every month.
Yes,
now as a country.
you kept piling on those debts. You just kept piling them on. It has implication because he who takes loans must pay back. He must pay back. No matter how attractive the payment plan is, no matter how favorable, you still have to pay back. So there is no point where you can avoid taking loans, avoid taking this loan because you have to pay them back.
And I'm sure the government they want to start charging more on those non-essential drinks that we drink.
And we've been doing that for many years. It does not work.
It's not enough.
It's not. It doesn't because
it
doesn't cover enough.
No, because we keep going after the.
If I love VSOP now, I'll have to pay more.
Yeah, we keep going after the luxury goods that are minimal in their usage, expensive but minimal, and that's why we don't get the results that we desire. I think by now, I don't think this is the time for us to know that we can no longer sustain. I think that ship sailed about 20 years ago during the Obasanjo.
We can no longer sustain taking loans.
You cannot.
We can no longer sustain this subsidy.
We cannot even sustain the kind of government we are running.
Yes,
at the
it's
level
too
we are
expensive.
doing.
So hope Nigerians will understand that it's long overdue to remove this subsidy. And
no, it's either we remove it or we collapse. It's either we remove it or we collapse. Things will collapse.
The government will have a responsibility of carrying out a kind of enlightenment.
Taking loans from the CBN and using it to pay worker salaries and all that. It's just that, look, these things, people have not really made noise about this, but it's the reality.
But if they remove it at the end of the day now, and the likes of my comrade Joe Ajero, they're coming out and saying, look, we're not going to agree. As in, call out on strike, because they've given conditions, they are saying that let our refineries be working. Create a kind of conducive atmosphere before you remove it. So when are we going to ensure that all our refineries will be working optimally?
But don't forget that the reason why refineries, not the government one, they want to give licenses to are not working. It's because they are not profitable. And I think the moment we remove the subsidy, people can now buy whatever they want at the price that they want. Because ultimately, your consumption...
For how long can NSC go on strike?
Yeah. Without salary.
Let's even face it. For how long can they go on strike? Keep people away from
work.
People like these commuters, they live for the day.
They hand their money every day.
They live for the day. If they don't earn money that day, they don't eat. If you tell them, oh, we are going on strike, after a few days, those boys, they will start working.
After a few hours.
You even recognize that once it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, that food start running.
In Lagos, they tell you the strike ended at 4.
So now even that one, after a while, they will start to rebel. How will they survive? And it's not as if they don't save. How will they survive? They must, the Agberos, the motor boys, they must work. Every blessed day they must work. So those ones will sabotage the strike ultimately. You cannot shut down the country for more than a week. It's just, I don't even see that happening. So Labour at some point has to sit with government to say, look, how do we do it? How do we cushion this effect? I think that has to be the conversation. But the subsidy thing cannot continue for too long.
Yeah,
thank you for your contribution. We have to leave it there. And BKO, thank you for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. And don't forget to join us every Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangouts. On Sunday, we're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now and see you tomorrow.
Our truck has been hit. We need backup transportation. Over.
When chaos becomes the order of the day, corruption knows no boundaries.
So you want us to drug Jimmy to get him out of the way?
And oppression gets to have a field day.
Esther, is that your house?
What becomes of the innocent?
The beautiful man camp is under attack, sir. What?
Lahira premieres on the 4th of April at 9 p.m. WAT on Africa Magic Showcase.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Now that Nigeria's next president has been decided at the poll on February 25, attention is shifted to May 29 Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of Nigeria's 16th president since 1960, when the country gained independence. It's going to be the 7th inauguration ceremony since the beginning of the 4th Republic in 1999. And President-elect Bola Tinubu and Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima will take the oath of office. Join me, Nifemi Oguntoye, every weekday on TV News for the countdown to the historic May 29 Inauguration Day, as we bring you all updates, political intrigues, and in-depth analysis of people and events that you need to know. The countdown to May 29 Inauguration Day, live.
Started killing from Genesis. Satan, Jesus exposed him. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I am come that you may have life and have it how much? More abundant. I prophesy as your amen is coming like thunder. Whatever is yours, receive it now.
We will be right there.
Gathering them. We are TV station of the year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
It's now 2 weeks, just 14 days to the inauguration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we're counting down. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Remember, you can join the conversation right now online using the hashtag Inauguration Day on Twitter. A good place to start is asking how much Nigeria spends on health. A breakdown of a 3-year budget between 2019 and 2021 shows that 6,000 naira 534 was budgeted for each citizen, indicating just about 2,000 naira per citizen in a year. Nigeria's health sector got 4.7% of the budget in 2019, 3.8% in 2020, and some 4% in 2021, as well as 4.5% in 2022 fiscal year. The sector got its highest allocation in 2023 at 5.75%, but that still falls short of the Abuja Declaration threshold. The implication of this is that government expenditure for health is only 25.15% of all the money spent on health across the country. Spent as out-of-pocket expenditure to pay for access to health services in both government and private facilities. So you can imagine the economic burden on Nigerians to ensure that they get their health in the right place. And while Nigeria suffers some insufficient number of doctors and has a doctor-patient ratio of over 5 times worse than the WHO recommendation, the country still loses hundreds, if not thousands of doctors annually to brain drain. A large number of them, of course, to the UK and the United States. So as the new administration to be led by Bola Tinubu gets underway by May 29, what must he do differently? When the program returns after this break, I'll be joined by a professor of virology and a professor of orthopedic and trauma surgery for more on this development. Stay with us. are counting down to when Bola Tinubu will take over mantle of leadership and what he must do differently where Nigeria's health sector is concerned. I'm joined now by Professor of Virology and former Vice Chancellor of Redeemers University, Oyewale Tomori. Thank you, Prof, for joining us on the countdown. Let's begin with the budgetary allocation to the health sector in Nigeria. 22 years after heads of state of African Union countries met in Abuja, committing to prioritize the health sector by allocating at least 15% of the annual budget to the sector, we're still in between 4 to 5% in Nigeria. What do you think is the problem?
Thank you very much. I think we have a series of governments that have not really cared much about health for the people. It's point blank that, like you said, it was in Abuja they decided they were going to put 15%. We've never even reached 1/3 of that all these years. I think it's a reflection on a government that cares very little about the health of its people. Simple.
Well, but government also has an explanation. In 2020, for instance, the permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Health, Abdulaziz,
and transparency of interest, over national interest. If that individual sees his nation and does what he needs to do for his nation, one by one, it is a accommodation of the self-interest that destroys the national interest. If I'm in a position of authority and I misuse the money, the next person does that, the next person does that, then the entire nation is in danger. So it has to start from each and every one of us. I'm sorry to be that blunt, but the actual fact, when you look at a man enters the civil service at the age of 25, he leaves at 60. In between that time, he has had 5 presidents, 10 ministers, and things haven't changed. Is it the people who are leaving that are causing a problem, or the people who are remaining? I'm not blaming all civil servants, but the majority of the problem we have in this country, until we face those things, are those civil servants.
The challenges, we've been talking about this for years, so I'm looking at how much impact it will have. Are you increase and then we'll have money to share that will impact positively on the health sector?
But let me tell you, corruption is not, Nigeria is not really a country that have corruption. Every country, US, UK, whatever. But the people are being sensible about their corruption. They think a little about, the people they are serving. Here you find the people that is only themselves they think of, and that's where we are today.
All right, let's talk about brain drain in Nigeria's health sector. And, the reality here is perhaps why we see many of our health workers leaving the country in droves. We hear that as of 2020, close to 4,000 Nigeria-trained doctors are licensed to practice medicine in the U.S. In March this year, the figure has risen to 11,000 in the United Kingdom. What's happening? What are the direct implications also on the sector in Nigeria?
With a continued brain drain, our health sector will continue to drain into nonsense. That's what is going to happen. And when we talk about brain drain, let me say one thing. The basic issue about draining is the environment in which we practice our health. Create an enabling environment for people and they will stay. Let me give a good example. My generation, we never left. Not because we didn't want to leave, but the neighboring environment in Nigeria was so good that people like us and my generation stayed. We developed self in our country. We had fulfillment of our professional self-fulfillment, and we were able to live a decent life. And so you stay. That's the basic thing. All these people who are going out, you think they are going out because they love those countries. You can see what they are suffering over there. It is because the environment they're working is not enabling them to function well. That's all. Improve the enabling environment. Those in the diaspora will come back.
On a like note, Prof, you said your generation never left, but you're speaking with me from Atlanta, not Jack by yourself.
You think I will come to Atlanta? What am I going to do in Atlanta? What am I going to do here? Because the country didn't enable my children and grandchildren to stay in Nigeria, that's why I'm here. For me.
That's reassuring. So let's talk about the implication of this. They say that Nigeria needs to produce about 12,000 doctors annually to be able to meet the required number of physicians. But according to the president of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Dr. Makojola, is saying that 9 out of every 10 medical and dental consultants with less than 5 years of experience plan to leave the country for greener pastures. Just last year, 7,200 Nigerian nurses were registered with the Nursing and Midwifery Council, Britain's professional body. We're hearing that our country is only, thought to Philippines and India, with more nurses in Britain. What do you think is the role of the level of patriotism that you have talked about in your generation that is not found this time?
There is a limit to patriotism. Let me be frank with you. People quote John Kennedy. They said, do not ask what your country can do for you, and or whatever that's it. Before John Kennedy said that, his country has already done something for him. Go and find out his life history. When he was caught by the enemy, his country went out to pick him and to save him. That is what the first starting point. Your country must do something for you before you begin to do something for the country. A country that has not done anything for you, it's not existing. And that's the situation that we're having in the country. First of all, that country must do its own duty. It's a reciprocal thing. It's not a one-way thing. And we are talking about the training. Yes, the more we train, but the more that go out because we allow them to go out, because we make our country so unconducive for them to go out, we can train more and more. The balance is how many remain. And if you don't improve that environment at home, you can train thousands, but 2,000 will go.
I'm wondering what you...
The whole environment. And then we can have no problem with that. People will still live, but the balance that we live with, they're not for our needs.
I get you, Prof, but I'm wondering what you think about the culpability of these other countries, because Nigeria, for instance, has been on the WHO list of countries with a shortage of healthcare workers since 2020. And, foreign employers are discouraged from recruiting nurses from the list, of course, two-thirds of which are in Africa. So you're wondering, if there are no places to go, are we not going to be first to fix the situation back at home? Don't you think countries like the UK...
Let's have memory. We have not created the environment. They're living and they're living because the situation has continued to be that. Those people, you can stop them. They will find other places to go. You don't have to go to Britain or that. There are the other countries that will take them. All these things we're talking about. Why are you asking for culpability of India or Britain when you are not taking care of your own people? No, the first thing is take care of your people. When people go across the Sahara Desert and go and drown in the Mediterranean Sea, whom are you blaming? If the situation is so bad for them to go through those things, do you think you should be looking at is back home, those things at home that is making people to risk their life to cross the desert and go and drown in the Mediterranean Sea? Something must be wrong with your situation at home. Repair that first before you start blaming other people.
You're saying that we must look inwards to solve our problems before blaming outsiders. However, lawmakers think differently, Prof. There's a bill now before the House of Reps seeking to prevent Nigerian-trained medical or dental practitioners from being granted full licenses until they have worked for a minimum of 5 years. But we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk more about that. Prof, please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on the countdown. We're looking at the health sector ahead the incoming administration and the efforts, what the Tinubu presidency must do differently. I've been speaking with former Vice Chancellor of University, Professor Yewale Thomas. He's also pioneer provost of the College of Health Sciences at Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Professor Mike Ogirima, who is also a former president of the Nigerian Medical Association. Great time for you to join us, Prof. We're just talking about the reasons why Nigerian health workers are leaving the country in droves. And Professor Tomari said that Nigeria must look inwards rather than blame, people on the outside for its problems. But I wanted to speak very quickly to the proposal by the House of Reps seeking to prevent Nigerian trained doctors and dentists from being granted full licenses until they have worked for a minimum of 5 years in the country. Do you think that will work?
That proposal is dead on arrival. For somebody to sit down and think and not to practice fully for 5 years, it is unheard of.
No, not saying. The proposal is not saying they will not practice fully. It's just saying that practice will be within the country. Isn't that what it's saying?
Yeah, no. What he is saying is that if a doctor qualifies, that doctor should not be licensed fully to practice. How do you practice without a full license? You can't practice. That is quackery. If you allow somebody without a license to practice, it's not heard of. The 1 year after graduation that a doctor spends as a houseman is a stage of, training on the job. So that after 1 year, that person can be certified to practice on his own. So if you deny that person for 5 years, it is criminal. And that person thinking like that should be treated and should be sued by the court of law.
And this represents the position of the Nigerian Medical Association, I suggest, right?
Yes, that is our position.
All right, so let's quickly get back to Prof. Tomari. I'd like us to speak to the resolution of labor disputes between government and health workers. Just 2 days ago, Johesu and another body issued a 15-day strike ultimatum over what they call alleged inconsistencies by the federal government in the ongoing, negotiations to adjust salary structure and the rest. But look at the figures, Prof. Since the start of the pandemic in 2020, doctors have been on strike for not less than 4 times, including sometime in August 2021, that the National Association of Resident Doctors were on strike for more than 20 days. Speak to us about the ethics of it. Should doctors even go on strike for any reason whatsoever, or for as often as they have that we have experienced in the past few years in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. There are conditions for ethics. When you talk about ethics, there's something you have to do on my side and something I have to do on your side. You cannot take only one side and say I'm not ethical. There are conditions. You tell somebody do not defecate openly, and then there's no toilet to defecate. How do you get not to defecate openly? So let's be frank with each other. When government fails to meet its condition, then you start shouting about ethics. No, you can't. I know what my friend, he was more on his side about hypocritical law, but there's also basic assumptions that must be in place before you start bringing all those issues up. You cannot, I use the word disenable a person, and then you tell him he's not functioning. How can he function? We are not providing those bases for him. Of course, the issue of strike is not just for the medical people alone. You know our universities have been on strike for how many years? Virtually everywhere. And it's a strike of strike. Everybody is striking. Something must be wrong with the people they are striking against. I think that's where we should be looking at. What is it that is leading to everybody asking for strike and strike, from teacher to road worker to something? The common factor is that we are leading with a government that is not performing its duty to ensure that the right conditions are available for people to function.
I hear you, Prof. Professor Ogirima, you have sat on the table with government as a former NMA president. Talk to us about how the incoming administration can reach an agreement with health workers in this new dispensation, given what we call the nation's scarce resources?
Well, thank you. The government of Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, based on his antecedents, should put the right person in the right position. The round peg in the round hole. Leadership is number one. Once we get the leadership at the health sector right, then the programs of the government will be seen to be implemented. And implementing the programs means looking at what the timeline is. What are those ingredients in the program that are beneficial? Of course, every program of government is meant to be beneficial. And we know that to perform efficiently. Two, delineating the tiers of government to take care of all the tiers of health care programs. We have the primary health care program, we have the secondary health care program, and we have the tertiary health care program. The state governments are all running into tertiary health program. They have no business in that. Even if you have to run tertiary health care program, you must make sure that your secondary and primary health care programs are well efficiently run. The primary health care program should see 75% of the healthcare issues. And if we must adequately fund health sector, we have National Health Insurance Authority, which is supposed to be a mandatory health insurance scheme for all Nigerians. This must be keyed into every levels of government, particularly the federal government, must make sure the workforce are keyed into health insurance scheme. Because without a mandatory health insurance scheme, the coverage, which is still abysmally low, will not get wider. And providing a lot of fund into health sector through that means each tiers of government and each level of health funded and well staffed.
I hear you, Prof. It's a good place to leave it. Be sure that we'll continue with this conversation, and we'll also, bring you on for more, since you seem to have a lot of ideas in this regard that can benefit the incoming administration. Pioneer Provost of the College of Health Sciences, Ahmadu Bello University, former President, Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Mike Ogirima, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Former Vice Chancellor, Redeemers University, Professor Oyewale Tomori, and having a conversation with two professors make me feel like one already. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the program.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
That's the show tonight. Thanks for being a part of it. You can watch a repeat at 6 a.m. tomorrow. We're back 6 p.m. tomorrow with another exciting edition. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.
Before this program, I've been owing debts of about 1.something million. But through this shop I've opened, I was able to pay that debt.
The governor is a lifter of life.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa, as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to travel in far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos state government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Keep up with innovative, revealing, and groundbreaking happenings in the world of brands and brand builders in Nigeria and across the globe. Mingle with people and brands that make the cut and the personalities that keep reinventing the trends and traditions in the marketing world. All are exciting one-stop shop for marketing buffs. Marketing Edge on TV. You are always right on time with the right people and movers and shakers of the world of marketing as they share their views and ideas on the business and challenges of advertising, corporate affairs, media strategy, and the unfolding exciting world of digital marketing. Join the trendsetters and key decision makers as they shape opinions and project into the future of the marketing landscape for 30 exhilarating minutes on this channel. Stay ahead, be thrilled to beat, be marketing savvy with Marketing Edge on TV. Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty, erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting, as the arts are meant to be.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Hello, welcome to Nafdac and Your Health. On this show, we bring you updates on Nafdac's activities in fulfilling its mandate of safeguarding the health of the nation. My name is Amanda Ugo.
The interest, well-being and development of the workforce has always been a major concern to Professor Mojisola Adeyeye since she assumed office. More so as she is someone who believes in and adheres strictly to the principles of quality management system.
The training of our staff is extremely important to safeguarding the health of the electorate. Then that staff will understand what he or she is doing and what may be the consequences, positive or negative. If it is negative, then that staff must have been capacitated not to do something that will result in a negative outcome. So training is extremely important. As a professor, that was part and parcel of my life. To train students to a level that will make that students even better than you, the teacher. Just like I said, when I train my students, for my school industry, it brings their level of confidence. It gives them opportunity to be able to discuss among their peers that yes, this is what is happening with this regulatory activity, and this may be the consequence. So it's extremely important. However, for the individual staff, it is extremely important to see yourself in 5 years' time better than what you are today. I believe in maximizing the capacity of the mind. And if a staff is trained, it means that that staff is not just going through the motion. That staff also has self-fulfillment.
In addition to the consistent capacity development of the Nafdac staff, the Director General of Nafdac is also passionate about providing a safe and healthy working environment for the staff. It was for this reason that she created the Health and Safety Unit in the year 2018. As it has always been its practice, on the 28th of April 2023, Nafdac also joined in this year's commemoration of the World Safety Day at its Abuja and Lagos offices under the theme, Safe and Healthy Working Environment, a Fundamental Right. The Director General of Nafdac was represented at the Abuja commemoration by her special assistant, Dr. Fajemirokun Benga.
A lot of people dying from work-related, whether it is disease or accident, and about 374 million suffer from workplace injuries or illnesses. Only 20% have access to occupational health and safety services. The ILO is a tripartite body comprising of governments, employers, and unions, instituting safe and healthy work as a fundamental principle and right at the ILO commits member states to respect and promote this right, regardless of whether the state has ratified other relevant ILO conventions or not. Recall that upon my appointment, that's upon the DG's appointment and resumption as DG, and in line with national and international labor laws, I established in the last quarter of 2018 the Health and Safety Unit domiciled in my office, with committee members across key Nafdac facilities to create awareness on health, safety, and work environment, using documented procedures, processes, and guidelines.
Since the inception of the coming of the DG and the establishment of the Health and Safety Unit, we have, signages around to warn us, to caution us. Some are mandatory, some are, restrictions, for each and every employee to get to know what to do in the event of hazards. Establish and update operating procedures and communicate them so that employees follow safety and healthy requirements. In line with quality management system, of course, all processes and procedures have been documented. And I'm happy to announce that the Health and Safety Unit has developed procedures and processes that will guide us so that we'll be able to carry out our functions effectively. If you are saying that, okay, there should be a safety drill, a safety trainings in a language and vocabulary that workers can understand. I want to say that Health and Safety Unit has tried internally. We have tried to do in-house training on our own. We are also looking forward to, of course, DG approving other trainings for us so that we can get trained by people, external bodies who are professional in that aspect, so that we can know current trends and also to train others.
The commemoration of the World Safety Day by Nafdac also took place simultaneously at the agency's Lagos office.
Screen protection should work, should be adequate. Likely where you work, in terms of human rights and the rest, should be work adequate, so that you don't come with good eyes and head up and half blind and try your time for service.
Parts of the activities that took place there were lectures, medical tests, and consultations by medical experts. Speaking through her representative in Abuja, the DG reiterated her commitment to the safety of staff and prevention of workplace hazards.
I use this medium to reiterate my commitment towards the provision and promotion of a workplace free from serious recognized hazards, which complies with standards, rules, and regulations issued under the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1984. The Act promotes and improves standards for occupational safety and health, to establish the Commission for Occupational Safety and Health, to provide for a tribunal for the determination of certain matters and claims, and to facilitate the coordination of the administration of laws relating to occupational safety and health.
The program continues after the short break. Please stay with us.
No way. I'm never taking vaccines again or giving it to my child. My head aches. My child is That would have been me if I did not know better that reactions after vaccination are called adverse events following immunizations, AEFI. And it is normal. In fact, it often indicates that the vaccines are working effectively. Yes.
Use bleaching creams or whatever, your skin may be lighter now, but what is going to happen in 10 years if you keep using the same thing? It's a custom that person is used to. That person may have cancer. So we have to make sure that our own awareness, our stakeholders awareness, sensitization, very, very important. And enforcement, we go to do raids at the trade fairs, and it's a continuous battle. We carry tons and tons and tons of seized goods. They go back to do things to bring cosmetics in. Our own judicial system is another issue. We don't give the type of sanction or sentence that the violation demands. So it's a multifactorial issues, but we are dealing